Hey guys, hoping all is well with everyone. So in this video we're going to be looking at practice problem number 3. So this problem says to find all solutions for the rational expression of 14t over the quantity t squared plus 10 is equal to 2. Now I know it doesn't look like it from the start, but there is a common theme to a lot of these problem sets, and this one is going to be around the idea that we are going to create a quadratic equation from this what looks like a jumbled mess in the very beginning, and we're going to let that equal 0 to where we can factor that quadratic in one way or another and find those values and roots and solutions to t to solve this problem. Now I'm going to start in paint here on the left hand side, because what I want to do is I want to show you what's going to essentially happen right from the get-go to make our lives a little easier. The first thing that you want to do is kind of get rid of the whole fraction going on the left side of the equation. And the way that we're going to do that, is by multiplying both sides by the denominator. Remember, when you first started algebra, we kind of learned that lesson that you can do anything that you want to an equation as long as you keep the equation balanced by doing the operation to both sides. So we're going to multiply both sides by t squared plus 10. And on the left side, what's going to essentially happen is that the numerator and the denominator are going to cancel. That's beauty to us. We kind of want that, because now we kind of level the playing field a little bit. So go ahead now into the Word document, and I'll kind of show you what has happened. So we have 14t is equal to 2 times the quantity t squared plus 10t, or plus 10, sorry, is, okay. So now I'm going to make a little bit more simplification here, and I'm going to distribute the right side. So this is going to be equal to 14t is equal to 2t squared plus 20. Now, at this point, you can be a little picky and choosy about how you want to go forward with this. And basically, remember, your goal with quadratics is to let one side equal 0. You can kind of choose which side you want to be equal to 0. You can subtract 14t from both sides, or you can subtract 2t squared and 20 from both sides. It's what's most comfortable for you. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of do a little bit of both, putting it on one side, but I'm going to reorder it because I always was a fan of having the 0 on the right side. So I'll kind of show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to subtract 14t from both sides. And I'm going to get 0 is equal to 2t squared minus 14t plus 20 is equal to 0. But like I said, I'm more comfortable with 0 being on the right. There's nothing saying that I can't rewrite this as long as I'm not changing in the equation in any way. I'm just going to have the left side be equal to the right side and vice versa. But I haven't changed the equation in any way. So that's always a technique that you can use too. As long as you don't change the expression in any way or the equation in any way, you're golden. So at this point, again, you have a little freedom. You can factor this in one of two ways, well, three ways actually. The first is just to take a greatest common factor out and factor it as a product of a times c to the sum of b. Or you can factor it by grouping, and that would be not taking out a greatest common factor, a times c equals the sum of b, but then using that grouping technique. I'm going to show you both. The only one I'm not going to show you here is the quadratic formula, because again, as I mentioned in the previous practice problems, if you don't have to use a quadratic formula, again, it's like even saying the equation and all of its variables and components is just a mouthful off the bat. So if you can avoid the tediousness and the plugging and chugging of all of that, then definitely take advantage of the benefit of other methods of factoring. So we're going to go ahead with method 1 here, greatest common factor of 2. So this is going to take out a greatest common factor of 2. This is going to leave me with t squared minus 7t plus 10 is equal to 0. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. the right side won't change, but the left side will be simplified to just t squared minus 7t plus 10 is equal to 0. Now, this is going to be another product of a times c equals the sum of b situation. So, what we want to do is, remember, the general form of a quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Identify your a, b, and c. So remember, they're just the coefficients of the respective terms. So your a is going to be the coefficient on the t squared term. But remember, if there is no non-zero coefficient, we infer it as 1. b is going to be equal to negative 7, and c is going to be equal to positive 10. Now, again, I cannot emphasize this enough. Your signs are very, very important in this step of identifying your a, b, and c, because you're going to find that your factors and your signs of your factors are going to be dependent on the signs of the a, b, and c. So, we want the factors of a times c that add up to b. So we want factors of 10 times 1, which is 10, that add up to negative 7. Here's the thing here. Since the a times c is positive, since c times a is positive, and b is negative, both our factors must be negative. Okay? So I'll go ahead and I'll list the factors for you here. So we have negative 10 and negative 1. And again, this is because both of our factors have to either both be positive or both be negative. They can't be one of each, because there's no way that the factors of negative 10, if one was positive and one was negative, would equal negative 7. It's just not mathematically possible. So what we have here is that they either both have to be positive or both have to be negative. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of list them out. We have negative 10 and negative 1, positive 10 and positive 1, negative 5 and negative 2, and positive 5 and positive 2. Now, right off the bat, you can get rid of your positive factors, because if they're both positive, there's no way two positive factors taken as a sum can be equal to a negative number. That's also mathematically not possible. So we can go ahead and get rid of those possibilities. So now we're left with negative 10 and negative 1, and negative 5 and negative 2, and we would see that negative 5 plus negative 2 is negative 7. So we have that t minus 5 is equal to 0, and t minus 2 is equal to 0, and then we solve these for t. So we add 5 to both sides for the first equation, so t is equal to 5. We add 2 to the second equation, and t equals 2. So our roots and solutions to this equation are equal to t equals 5 and 2. Now, there is a way that we can go ahead and right now check to make sure that that works. So when we do our other method, we can kind of verify that those are the roots we're looking for. So we have 14t over t squared plus 10 is equal to 2 was our original equation. Let's go ahead and plug in those values just to make sure it works. 14 times, let's go ahead and substitute in 5 first. So 14 times 5 is 70. 5 squared is 25 plus 10 is 35. 70 divided by 35 is indeed equal to 2. Let's go ahead and substitute in 2. 14 times 2 is 28. 2 squared is 4 plus 10 is 14. 28 over 14 is indeed 2. So that shows that our solution of t equals 5 and t equals 2 is correct. Now let's go ahead and go to method 2 here. This is going to be factoring by grouping. So in this case, I'm not going to factor out that 2. I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to find the factors of a times c that add up to b. So I want the factors of 2 times 20 that add up to negative 14. Now again, this is a situation where if our factors of positive 40 that add up to negative 14, this means that both our factors must be negative. So So I'll go ahead and list these out for you too. So this is going to be negative 40, negative 1, negative 20, negative 2, negative 10, negative 4, negative 8, negative 5. So those are our factors of 40. Now, let's go ahead and see which one as a sum equals to negative 14. Again, these can also be all positive, but because the b term is negative, there's no possible way for two positive factors as a sum to be equal to a negative number. That's not possible. So we're going to go ahead and look at negative 10 and negative 4. Negative 10 times negative 4 is positive 40, and negative 10 plus negative 4 is negative 14. Now again, we're not just going to go ahead and set these equal to 0. Instead, we have to go ahead and do this grouping. So we have 2t squared minus 10t plus, I'm going to put that plus in I'm going to put that plus in there on purpose just to show you something really important. Negative 4t plus 20. Okay, this is where I cannot stress enough, you have to be very, very careful with your signs. So, we have to make sure that when we are factoring this, we find a greatest common factor between the two. And if we don't do it correctly, we will not get the correct sign. So in this first one, I'm going to factor out a 2t, and I'm going to get t minus 5. So that means that when I factor out the second part here, my goal is to get a remaining factor of t minus 5. So I'm going to factor out a negative 4. That's going to give me t minus 5. Okay. If you have any questions about that, please let me know, because again, if we take out a negative 4 from negative 4t, all we're left with is t. If we take out a negative 4 from positive 20, we're left with negative 5, because negative 5 times negative 4 is positive 20. So now I have my two factors. I have the greatest common factor of t minus 5 and 2t minus 4. So I'm going to set both of these equal to 0. So 2t minus 4 is equal to 0, and t minus 5 is equal to 0. And I'm going to solve for this. I'm going to do that 2t is equal to 4, and this is going to give me that t equals 2. And in the next one, I'm going to get that I add 5 to both sides. This is going to be t equals 5. So again, we end up with our same solutions and roots, which is exactly what we were looking for, because we verified that by substituting in those roots into the equation after our first method. So again, there's two ways that you can approach this question. You just want to do what's most comfortable for you, and you just want to really, really be careful with your signs on this type of question. The negatives can really cause a lot of red flags, and they can really cause a lot of simple mistakes. So just make sure you're being really vigilant and really careful. If you guys have any questions or any concerns about this question, please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next videos.